There's a forest, just an hour outside a quiet town, so dense and overgrown it's as if it exists outside time itself. The locals call it Whispering Pines, but it's not named for the wind through the trees. No, these whispers are far darker. It's an unspoken rule in town: never enter those woods alone. Many who tried didn't come back, and those who did, well, they were never the same. The story of Whispering Pines began decades ago. A small settlement had attempted to establish a village on the forest's edge. Almost immediately, strange events plagued the settlers: eerie shadows in the trees, the distant but unmistakable sound of laughter. Rumor has it that people vanished, one by one, drawn into the forest by voices calling their names. Each person swore they'd heard a loved one beckoning them. The villagers tried to resist, but the voices became more frequent, louder, and more persuasive. Eventually, the settlement itself disappeared, swallowed by the forest. Today, only foundations remain, covered by twisted vines and moss. A few years ago, two young campers, oblivious to the town's warnings, ventured into the forest. They treated it like an adventure, a place of mystery rather than danger. They left behind only their campsite and a camera. The footage, however, is chilling. The video shows them laughing, setting up camp, and chatting by the fire. But soon, the laughter stops. The two begin staring into the trees, silent and wide-eyed, like they've seen something unimaginable. The last few moments. Their faces, pale and expressionless, staring into the forest as if listening to something. Then the camera cuts to black. The campers were never found, and their belongings were left undisturbed. In the years since, a handful of brave, or foolish, souls have entered the forest, hoping to discover its secrets. One man, a skeptic, went in determined to prove it was all a legend. But he returned 3 days later, pale, shaking, and disoriented. He claimed the forest had shifted around him, as if alive, trapping him in a never-ending maze of trees. He heard whispers calling his name, getting louder and more insistent. It wasn't until he closed his eyes and relied on the sound of his own footsteps that he managed to find his way out. To him, it felt like only a few hours, but he had been missing for days. Locals say the forest is not just haunted, it's alive, ancient, and hungry. It watches, waits, and calls to those who venture too close. People swear they've seen faces in the bark and shadows that shouldn't be there. They speak of a strange light that appears deep in the forest, almost like a lantern. But those who follow it are never seen again. As the legend goes, Whispering Pines isn't just cursed. It's a predator, patiently luring in the curious and the lost. Those who enter aren't claimed right away, they're taunted, given glimpses of escape, only to be pulled back in, deeper and deeper, until they're hopelessly lost. Those lucky enough to escape say that the whispers never leave them, haunting them long after they've left the forest behind. So, if you ever find yourself near Whispering Pines, remember, it's not just a forest. It's a trap, and it's waiting, watching, whispering, waiting for someone like you. Are you brave enough to enter?